Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're going to be listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast, now in our 20th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, doing great things in our community, whether it's food insecurity, work with Alzheimer's, arts, financial literacy, you name it. They're involved with so many very, very cool causes. And speaking about cool causes, we are honored to have back in the studio our friends from Curebound CEO Robin Toft. How you doing, Robin?
I'm doing great. So excited to be here, Drew.
Well, listen, you guys at Curebound, just at the top of your game, and certainly if anybody has any understanding about the importance of cancer research, knows what you folks do. So you're relatively new CEO, not relatively new to being a community leader, of course, but how long have you been the CEO of Curebound?
Exactly 6 months.
Veteran, absolutely.
Yeah.
A veteran in this aspect of it.
I was on the board for 2 years, though, so
Yeah.
that kind of gave me a good foundation, and it's kind of unique to be able to transition this way.
Well, talk about what you folks have done. You've awarded more than $51.5 million in cancer research grants, and it's just your mission is phenomenal. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we're a community-powered cancer research accelerator, which means we work with the entire community to fund all of the local research institutes. And San Diego is specifically unique because we have 3 NCI-designated research centers: UCSD Moores Cancer Center, Sanford Burnham Prebys, and the Salk Institute, that doesn't exist anywhere else in the country. But we fund 6 and now 8 of the research institutes here in town.
That's
and
huge.
Everybody can apply for grants, and they need to be collaborative grants, so they work cohesively across, and it's uniquely possible in San Diego because we're a wildly collaborative town.
We are wildly collaborative, but who came up with this idea that we needed to do this? Was it researchers? Was it doctors? Was it community leaders? Was it all of the above?
Oh my gosh, it was a community leader called Bill Komen, and Bill and Amy Komen are legends now. They came from St. Louis only about 20 years ago. And 12 years ago, or actually I think it was 12 or 13 years ago, he came. They had been doing Pedal the Cause in St. Louis, and they brought Pedal the Cause here, and it was called Padres Pedal the Cause.
Right.
So he had this vision that because of this unique ecosystem, that you could actually create something really exceptional. And he was absolutely right. That is Curebound. The vision that he created now exists, and that's working across our 3 words are collaboration, acceleration, and impact. So you can go faster when the right people work together, and you can create exceptional impact. So we fund bold, aspirational, out of the box, would otherwise probably never be funded. And then in today's environment with the federal funding deficits that are going on, it would absolutely never be funded. And the timing is just impeccable. I mean, again, they started 12 years ago. 4 years ago, we merged it with the Immunotherapy Foundation to create Curebound. And, it's just been a rocket ship ride since then.
Well, you had something, as I was mentioning to Ann Marburger, the previous CEO. I was fortunate to grow up in a doctor's family, taught medicine at UCLA, so we know about research, and research is not cheap, but it is so absolutely critical if you're going to do these things, and not always the easiest groups to get to do things together.
Yeah.
So what you folks have done is to be able to go to groups that maybe traditionally is too harsh of a word to say it, but often are sort of, fighting for that same dollar or don't necessarily play well in the same sandbox. And you guys have made it happen.
Yes, and the model is so brilliant because our donor base wants to fund collaborative, cohesive research across the whole ecosystem. And they want to reinvest in San Diego, and they want to accelerate this as fast as they can. So they're aware and educated enough to know that rather than investing in one institute, which they're all amazing, and I wouldn't discourage anyone from doing that,
Right.
but you can invest in the collective, the cohesive, the catalyst accelerator model that we are. Anne and I are great friends. She and I just switched seats. It was the coolest thing ever.
So she's on the board?
Yeah, she's on the board,
Okay.
and she is now me, and I am her.
Right.
And it's just been, I call her the old CEO, even though she's far younger than I am. The intriguing part is it's about stage of company, and we need to scale. And I have scaled companies my entire career. So for me, and I'm also a cancer survivor of 20 years and a biotech professional of 30 years, and foundational to scaling biotech firms and big pharma companies. And most recently, I built and sold my own executive search firm targeting oncology companies here in San Diego. So it's given me this great luxury to step in, and it's my life's work. So I couldn't be more excited. When Anne resigned, I said, choose me.
And they
so
did.
That's how it went.
And they did. Well, we talk about the collaboration, and we know what's going on 3,000 miles away. And for those folks that are passionate about research in this world, and NIH funding and everything in between, you folks are just a godsend, to say the least. That's an understatement of the world in this aspect of it. But I love it. We just we had David on from Previs and recently, and we've had the Moores Cancer Center folks on. And I just think to be an advocate to what you do, we need a lot more people just to go ahead and say, this stuff is real. Anyone that sits there and poo-poos this type of research funding, or even science in general, is absolutely abhorrent. Talk about that.
Yeah, thank you for that opportunity to speak. I think we can cure cancer right here in California, and specifically in San Diego as headquarters. We have everything we need to cure cancer right now. And the harsh reality is that because of the reductions to federal funding, the whole U.S. might lose its innovation edge. I mean, we cannot afford to do that. San Diego and California as a whole has become who we are because of tech and life sciences innovation. And
100%.
so we have it all. And what I call what we're doing is bridge funding the gap. So if we can bridge fund these researchers, that have this great, bright idea, they come to us. We have unprecedented number of grants coming in this year. 188 grants were just received, grant applications. And we get to identify the best and brightest research scientists and bet on them, because these are the things that can actually move the needle. They're precision medicine, personalized solutions for patients. This is what the world's been waiting for, is we now have the opportunity to use AI, genomics, and immunotherapy solutions, which San Diego is expert in, to actually cure cancer. And so the time is now, and bridge funding this is for real. And we just need to jumpstart those solutions so they can get alternative sources of funding like venture capital. We're embedded in the biotech community as well. So super fun to be here.
And talk about this because of your background in biotech and all that business, and the companies that you've been involved in. But when funding is cut for research that has already been they're in year 3 of a 5-year plan or whatever the case may be, you just can't cut it and say, we'll start it again in 2 months. It doesn't work that way. You need to have that be consistent. Talk about, you can't have any cuts in the middle of a research stream.
You absolutely can't. Once you've placed a bet on a research team, they need to stay funded until such time that they can commercialize or move it forward, whether it be within their own institution, to be out-licensed to another entity, and or to create their own company. And we have catalyst grants that help people spin out companies as well. This is, it's just so necessary, and it's so critically important right now. Couldn't be more important right now.
Yeah, well, we need to get out there with the pitchforks and say, absolutely, we're not going to give any ground in this aspect of it. When we come back from break, we're going to continue the conversation with Robin Toft, CEO of Curebound, talk about this Curebound Concert for Cures. Pink, I got to go and see Elton John I'm sure you were there, of course, at Petco, and that aspect of it, and talk about other opportunities to get involved with this great organization. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. Listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast, now in our 20th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We'll be right back after this very, very short break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. Going to be listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show in our 20th year. I'm very proud of that. Nation's longest running community podcast, brought to you by the fine folks at Mission Fed Credit Union. Honored to have in the studio with us today Robin Toft, CEO of Curebound, just talking about they are on top of their game with bringing people together for cancer research, literally community-powered cancer research. We all know there's been challenges based on some of the cuts to NIH. This is not the time to be doing this when we are the hub, San Diego County, for that matter, of research in general, biotech, fill in the blank. And you folks have just been killing it for years. What is the secret sauce to get everybody to row in the right direction? Obviously, the results will help when you see all these things that are funded, and then, here's some of the cures that are coming out of these things that people didn't realize we would have unless we're rowing together. But what else? You guys do this amazing thing of getting people to collaborate. Not easy to do.
Yeah, I think at the base of it all is the grateful patient and the survivors, and I actually am one. So I feel so. The reason I got involved with Curebound is because I am so grateful to be alive after 20 years with colon cancer, and it's rare that you meet colon cancer survivors. I was just very lucky to be diagnosed early. So engaging the hearts and minds of the community to really serve and really get involved starts there. I mean, we did the recent Pink concert. Thank you for, we have two big legacy events every single year. And when we created Curebound, we started the concert series. So we've always had the ride, the challenge, now we call it the Cancer Challenge. Right. But now we have the concert series. So the first year it was Alicia Keys. The second year it was Ed Sheeran. Both of those were at the Shell. Right. And then we got really brave and courageous because we are a bold organization that funds bold research. And we went to Petco Park and hosted Elton John last year. Incredible concert. I mean, it was probably one of the highlights of my life because I was a piano player growing up, and just to meet him and to be near him and on the floor, the VIP floor where we get some of our most significant donors, really get an experience. And we often say we don't host events, we host experiences. So you were there, but this year it was Pink, and it was just about a month ago. And, as I took on the CEO torch, we didn't know for sure that we could host a concert that year. Petco gives us very few dates. And last year we chose Mother's Day, so that wasn't optimized. This year it was actually graduation weekend, it seems. But Pink was a gift. And you, I see you in your Susan G. Komen shirt. Pink for survivors is the color. The energy that pink brings and the human that she is was just perfect for the message that we needed to share. And so I actually got to be the opening act for her at Petco with 25,000 people, and I had to walk out the catwalk and talk to the crowd. And I put the Raise the Light moments first, and so that we could get everyone involved. And I actually asked them, if you're a survivor or you're going through cancer now, please raise your lights. And it took my breath away, Drew. Like half the audience stood up. And I had no idea it would be that many. And then we asked them if you've ever loved anyone with cancer to raise your lights. It was the entire audience. And now I'm just blown away. Everybody was crying. And we raised the lights a little higher for everyone who wasn't there. But the feeling in that stadium with 25,000 people gathered together for the same cause to actually fund cancer research and to not be okay with the current standard of care and or the administration, what's happening, is amazing. And so Pink's show was over the top. Like it was, and everyone who's ever seen Pink said it was by far, and anyone who's ever been to concerts their life, a lot of our board directors are older and they weren't sure they would love it. Everybody said it was the best concert they've ever been to in their life. And it was because of the energy in the stadium. It was because of the like-mindedness. And I saw some drone footage from above and below and listening to the Raise the Light moments. And it was remarkable. It's something that none of us will ever forget. And that's how we create momentum to raise money for cancer, because everybody needs to be involved. The researchers are in the audience. I actually said from the stage, this was the biggest applause that we got, our ability to select the best and brightest research is a result of our biotech roots. And the crowd screamed, right? I mean, our researchers are all at the tables on the floor. It's amazing.
Well, and, it's to the point you were making, it's very hard to find anybody that doesn't know someone intimate, not just know someone, but intimate, that has not been impacted with cancer.
1 in 2 people will get cancer in their lifetime. And I'm also on the American Cancer Society board and CEOs Against Cancer. I was on all of this before I took the Curebound torch. Right. But honestly, we cannot continue business as usual. We have to rise up and address this situation so we don't lose this opportunity to cure all these people.
Yeah. Well, I think, what it comes down to is just having people that can keep that Elton John momentum last year, the Pink momentum this year, everything else that's in between. And you know how this works. I'm having, done so many businesses yourself. You can't say it once. You've got to say it almost 365 times of the year until people understand this. And those that have been in the field of, whether it's medical research or any type of research, knows that there's a momentum with this.
Yeah.
And you cannot stop that momentum.
We're creating a campaign to be announced this summer, but it's around 2 big initiatives that I have to fund is early detection for the big 4 cancer types. We have to change the way we've been doing it. So that's colon, lung, pancreatic, and ovarian. The reason people die is that they're not identified soon enough. Right. And I foresee a time when we'll all be genetically sequenced and we'll all be imaged every year, and we will know if we have cancer earlier. And so we need that. So early detection for all and precision medicine solutions for all, which means personalized medicine, like I get what I need to cure my cancer. We're going to raise big funds of money around each of those through high net worth individuals who are willing to step into the void. And, they have historically, when Curebound was created, we just actually introduced the Komen Family Impact Circle. I told you Bill Komen was our founder. That's the $1 million plus donors. And they are wildly available on our website. We have a lot of them who are not okay with status quo. So every level of donation is welcome. We have every donation that comes in between events goes straight to the bottom line of research. And there's no dilution there whatsoever. Events have a certain cost to put on. Right. The Curebound Challenge is coming up August 1st, and that's at the UCSD campus. It's an experience. It's a full day. It's a bike, walk, run, spin, a blast of a day. We also just added yoga. It's great for kids. It's great for adults. So sign up for the challenge, show up, and be part of this community. The first time I was walking through that crowd a few years ago, I was just crying because it was like so beautiful. We're going to bring the American Cancer Society to do skin cancer screening and risk detection. And, we should all not walk for someone else. We should walk for the future and for health.
We should walk for ourselves. If I always have said this, no surprise to you. I think that's great raising these things. But if you don't take care of yourself, then you can't take care of anyone else.
Absolutely.
And you know this, being a cancer survivor
and a caretaker. My husband ended up with cancer as well 5 years later.
Yeah.
I mean, it's shocking. In between, our house burned down on mountains with everything in it. So, you never know what's going to happen in your life. And
Right.
I think the best thing that we can foster is, health, awareness, and resilience, to any kind of thing Curebound is a family that holds people.
Yeah.
And that's why I love our logo. It's like the C and the D side by side, and the people falling in the middle, and we hold them during this, incredible time of their life.
Yeah, I want you to address, as we end the interview here, that we'll shout out the August 1 event again as well, but that, I don't have Bill Gates' money. How can I help? I said, yes, you can help. It's just getting engaged, whether it's going to the events, whether it's being an advocate, whether it's telling people about Curebound, okay? Come on, there's 3.3 million people that live in San Diego County, for God's sake,
Spread the word. Show up, be involved. This year we had our concert such that there were tickets available for $50 so people could come and be part of it. We gave survivor tickets. The Manchester Foundation funded 1,500 tickets for survivors so they could come for free. And, we just want everybody to know, and you never know who's willing to step up and step in and fund cancer research. I got involved little by little, and now it's taken my heart, and you'll see me on the high net worth donors now. I mean, I couldn't stay away from what this company is doing. I have to bet on myself and the future of us.
Yeah.
This is we have legacy giving, so, you can put us in your will. We just had a really, I'm just going to tell you a story.
Please.
So Joe Pangilinan, if you've known Curebound for a while, he's been one of our greatest spokespeople. He has had lung cancer for 5 years, and he just lost his life suddenly to an infection. And he liked to speak about Curebound because it is, we are his legacy. So much so that we organized his memorial, and every single speaker spoke about Curebound and him wanting to give all of the resources to Curebound from every single person who attended. And he called it the lily pad effect because he felt like he was floating down a river and on a lily pad, and Curebound was working on the next lily pad for him with the researchers to get the next solution. And that allowed him to stay alive 5 years and have all of this time with his family. Each one of his children spoke, and his wife, and they are going to be forever spokespeople for Curebound and the work that we are doing. Because when you have cancer, the only thing that matters is time and having time with your family. So we are, at the very minimum, giving people a lot more time to be and to have those moments, the weddings, the grandchildren, everything that people need to have. Even if they don't get to survive, they still consider Curebound their forever family, which is, that was the last day of his life. He was in the hospital talking about Curebound, and we got the text immediately that we are his legacy. So, this is how people feel about Curebound. And the greatest challenge of being CEO and stepping into CEO is how many stakeholders there are. Everybody feels as if they own Curebound, and they all feel incredibly committed. We launched our research roadmap in March, and I've never seen such a promotional group of researchers on the stage for each of the 5 research pillars. They couldn't have been more celebratory and excited. Researchers don't usually take sides or positions or anything about anything, and we're making their research possible, and they are so grateful here in San Diego to be funded and to have this lifeline when research dollars are cut.
Yeah, well, it's too critical. Shout out the website one more time.
Curebound.org.
Well, wishing you nothing but great success with August 1 event at UCSD, and certainly looking forward to the next concert next year on this. And
the list is the top 10 performers of all time, so wish us luck.
Well, no, listen, there's no question. You guys don't need luck. You got you involved in this. Robin, what a pleasure meeting you, and again, you guys are just too valuable for our community, and of course, also the hundreds and thousands of people that you have, supported in this area. And I'm not talking necessarily the people that have the cancer; it's the families that are impacted by the people that have it. On this aspect, I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. To our audience, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.